Hi everybody, Flash Trouserman back with another Trouserman Tries. Today we're doing something a bit different. Today we're looking at Wonderdraft. Now Wonderdraft is, as it says on the website, which will be linked in the description below, is an intuitive yet powerful fancy map creation tool for 64-bit Windows 10, Linux and MacOSX. I'm also going to put a link into a quick guide as well, a GitHub. It's Mega Sploot's Wonderdraft quick guide, which gives you, because there ain't a lot of detail on the Wonderdraft website. It's a bit basic, but the quick guide is a quick guide, as it says on the tin. It's actually quite useful, so I'll stick that in the description as well. So let's jump into it, and I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Not much of a difference. Pastel, because that's what it recommends. You've got lots of different. See if we go like one, click start. So basically, start off by selecting your map. New map. Creates it. Gives you a blank canvas. So I'm going to go. I don't like that, so I'm going to change it to, that's the letter size. We've gone full HD, so we know that. One. That's pastel. Can you obviously it's basically each one gives you a different background. Pastel is the one that gives you, kind of gives you what most looks like an ocean, basically. So why am I doing this? A, because it's fun, and this appeals to me. But B, I've started playing. I've got my little boy 7. I've started playing Dungeons and Dragons with him. We've got Dungeons and Dragons Classic Dungeons Fantasy board game, and I've also got another game called Bag of Dungeon by a company called Gunpowder Studio, which I got on Kickstarter last year. Which again, they're both kind of D&D type games. The Bag of Dungeon is a lot simpler, really simple rules. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dungeon is simple, but this is even simpler. It's easy to understand. I've also picked up a few metallic figures, like the old Warhammer type figures, through Dungeons and Dragons type websites. And so we've started playing. So again, he enjoys it. We just do one-off games. We don't really kind of do any kind of character development. And so when I saw this, and we get started, let's do it. So first of all, we'll start off by doing a landmass, basically. Let's make it a bit bigger so we can do nice and big. So you do a lot of landmass, like that. So then what I thought about doing was, in creating something like this, it would allow us to create a whole world of. Words are failing me today, sorry. Kind of fantasy world with lots of different places we can adventure, lots of different stories I can tell, to allow him to actually start taking his sort of developing his character into what he wants it to be. So can we get some bit more kind of continuity in the storylines or in the play we do? That's something we might enjoy. It'll also help me come up with ideas to try and keep it original and kind of keep it not just doing the same thing. Right, so we've got the landmass. The wiki is very good. It gives you a very good order which to do it. So what we're going to do now, using this tool down here, we're going to lower the landmass. We're basically going to make the bush size a bit smaller. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to go down here. I'm going to get rid of all the rough edges to make it look nicer, a bit more kind of like an ocean, like a coastline, so it doesn't look like straight lines. What I'm looking at is just doing one landmass, kind of like your old school Warhammer type old world, with kind of like the typical kind of D&D type races in there. And what I then might do, obviously if this goes well, if it likes this, what I might do is here do another one with a new world map. See, like there, you can change it. You can do kind of like little, pick the coastline up and do lots of little kind of. What do you call them? Barriers. I like the barrier reef. There's a proper like nature type word for it, but I can't think of what it is. So you break the coast up a little bit, and what you could do, I mean, you can little things like you can kind of dot it low with the granite. It creates this kind of impression that it's a fractured coast with lots of little inlets and little islands there. Okay, so what am I thinking? Main island. So the quick guide gives you a sensible order to which to create your land. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go into land. Let's go to symbols actually. Let's do mountains. Right, what I'm thinking is this. That's way too big. not necessarily it's going to be to scale to degree. What I'm thinking about doing kind of like a series of kind of nations or areas kind of with different kind of races like dwarf, human, orc, goblin, that type of stuff. Your typical fantasy characters, nothing too complicated. It's only 7. It's like it's more just to give them a visual reference. For example, if I put a port city here, there'll be a city. So when we actually, if I can cut my storyline around going into this city here to go to find this particular person, to go into this building to steal this sword from this person. Then we go on the big map. I can go, look, we're going to go to this city, and then when we can use other tools I've got, such as I've got some little maps from other sets we've got, and use that as a kind of then go into his actual metal character in actual playing the game of dungeons, for example. Because when we can get out of the dungeon set, we can then kind of use the rules very loosely to keep it fun for him. And then he can do his dungeons game, and then he can return to his main map with his character, develop his character to be something big, and then I can start introducing the more complicated Dungeons and Dragons rules out, because I've got a start set behind me. So I'm just looking behind me, because I've got the Dungeons and Dragons start set, so I can then start kind of building the more complicated kind of stat gathering side of it. As he gets more into it, he can build a character up more. We can start gradually introducing type of thing, and then essentially give him a whole world to adventure in with a character he can build, and then he can build up a party of characters, and it just adds a bit more depth to it, because he likes that type of stuff. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm thinking I want a chain of mountains down to about here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down it like that. Kind of a spine of mountains down the middle. I think let's change a couple of different ones as well. We don't want to be the same, do we? We want kind of like splatter some in the middle like that. So it's very mountainous, very mountainous there. Obviously I've got to think of names for this lot, which I'm terrible at, but it does somewhere. It does have a kind of naming a fancy name creation tool that you can use. Because the colours become small as you get that further inland, so they kind of snake round there. Let's go for some nice and small there, and they gradually get a bit smaller there, and gradually just kind of fade out. No, I don't like that. That's a kind of mountains there, kind of a set of mountains there, and then what can we then do? What I might then do is some another mountain range kind of at the bottom. Because the idea being that you're looking at kind of dwarves and orcs in like the mountain areas. So you can then I can give him, because if he plays a dwarf character and go, well, look, this is your character, you're from the southern dwarf kingdom of this, and you've got to go up to the northern kingdom that's all fallen to ruin, and you need to go into your dungeon to steal back your ancient dwarven book of grudges or whatever. That type of stuff. So when he's got kind of just gives a bit more depth to a game. Again, like I said, it allows him to kind of allows me to kind of let my imagination run wild, but also that gives him a visual reference. Right, 2 sets of mountains there. So let's do I don't want to do mountain crazy. A couple of little ones, just like little mountains there, range, and like try to change them up a little bit so we've got the same kind of mountains there. Okay, and then kind of like that. Just kind of set of mountains there, so you've got the very mountainous region there. Okay, I think we'll do that for mountains there. This is about the 4th time I've tried to record this. I keep thinking, oh, I don't like that, no, I don't like that, oh, I don't like that. And forever, I just can't get it. You start doing something like this, it's fantastic to do. Right, what we're going to do now is a river width. So what I want to do is a river like that into there. See, hang on, I didn't go right. Try that again, shall we? Why don't we try, let's do an inland lake, kind of about here somewhere. Because I have an idea. Actually, I have a very good idea. tell you what we're going to do. Let's make it from into there. You have to be very careful when you do that. Kind of just go like decide to be. Let's zoom in, make it easier for myself. Right, what I want to do, I want to go into the symbols. So I'm going to go into here, and then like this is like again. I'm looking at something Pacific, so that one wants. I want to go like kind of there, like a bit smaller into like there. Well, then what to do back to because again we'll come to symbols in a minute. I just want to do the rivets first. So this is my freshwater thing, the tool there. I have to make a little kind of make it a bit bigger. It's a big waterfall, mystical waterfall there. I can then take my river from to there. I want to float it. I want to get kind of yeah. So it gives you the idea it's coming from there into there. What I then want to do is make it a bit bigger and flow the main river from there all the way into there. Like that. And then just kind of span it out a little bit. So I want to use rivers to kind of almost to kind of break up regions if I can do. Okay, we're gonna have another river coming, a long river coming from there, another great river into there. It's not as wide as that one. What we're also going to do though is split out from there. Into there. What I'm going to do to make that a bit easier, I'm going to go into zoom it a little bit. Zoom to that. Kind of make that a bit of a lake type area. Let's make that tool a bit, bush a bit bigger, make it a bit easier like that. I mean, obviously I'm kind of rifling this very quickly, but there's nothing stopping you. I'm not rushing through it, but believe me, I've tried to record this video. How many times I've tried to do this, I do not know. I keep doing it. I keep getting something. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that. And going backwards and forwards, end up going, oh, I'll do another one. So let's just use the rough edging tool to kind of change this side of the line to make it a bit rougher. If I don't like that at all, let's undo that. Okay, let's use the. Where's the fresh water? Let's have a look. What are you? Oh, the landmass brush. I'll make it a bit bigger. No, that's not. We don't like that, do we? Not like that at all. Let's go back to water. Let's go back to the freshwater brush. There we go. That's more like it. Just make it look a bit more rough, like it's like a bit of an inland lake. Let's zoom in a bit more, because I don't see what I'm doing. Just want to make the edges look a bit rougher. So if you look too smooth, it looks too like wrong. It looks too smooth. Yeah, some land in there, but like that, I'll do. Okay. Right. Okay, so we've got another great. So we've got two lakes coming out into there. So we do want just kind of another hill running from the hills there, all the way into kind of another there to there. And then I want there. What I'm thinking there is another great lake here, kind of up here, kind of. Another kind of series of Great Lakes here. I'm thinking it's like a great inland sea kind of thing. It's a big, huge lakes that pot them, that break all the land up. Yeah, and then from there, what we want to do from that is what I might do actually is from. No, I want to do that actually. Let's make a bit closer to what I'm doing. Not that close, but close enough. Let's just then do a kind of. That might take a while. Let's do it like that then. Make a freshwater channel between the two to kind of link them all together, so it looks like there's. Yeah, okay. Make that wider there. I'll come off that. Let's get the old fetch tool out. Let's make it a bit big so we can see what we're doing. Like I say, I've done this. I've done several attempts at this, trying to do this. I did another one last night, and I finished it. I thought, no, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Let's make it just like it's rough in the edges up a little bit. It's rough already. That's one down to take to make it a bit more kind of. That's what that looks like, doesn't it? I reckon it does. I don't know. It looks kind of that seems to be a bit kind of jaggedy and kind of like that. Kind of just yeah. So you get it gives the impression that there is kind of a set of inland water features. What we want from there, obviously, we need a river coming from up here into there, and then another great waterway. I'm going to make this a bit bigger from it flows into this main here like that. So you got three great waterways. I'm just going to go into that. I'm going to go a bit smaller. Make that a bit bigger so it looks like there's yeah, the great waterway there. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to give you the impression that you've got rivers coming from waterways flowing from there. Tell you what, let's have a. Estimate this again. Like that. So I'm going to get my mountains back out because I've just come up with an idea. Symbols, mountains. Let's just kind of put you kind of there. And what I then want to get is go back into symbols, back to waterfalls. Back to waterfalls. There's so many different things to look at. And kind of put that kind of the great waterfall there. Go back to my water. Go back to you. And that there, and kind of make that. So again, it's another land feature. You've got this great mythical waterfall again. So again, I've already thrown in my head. I'm thinking to myself, right, what I can have is we've got the great northern waterfall and the great southern waterfall. For example, I can have a storyline going. In this city here, there's believed to be a mythical sword here that the king wants for his whatever. Go on a mission to that waterfall, find the sword, bring it back, get lots of treasure, and then I can then do a game around that. For example, have him making a journey from this city. It might take 4 turns to go from this city to the waterfall. Have a couple of ambushes on the way. Make him take health checks for how long it takes me, like to represent eating food. If you roll a 2, for example, make it go long. Basically, you lose a health point because you've not got enough food. Just things like that. So he's got a sense of we're going on an adventure, and then when we get to here, I can get my the Dungeons and Dragons dungeons board out and use that to actually play an actual game to get his treasure, and then you can make the journey back, and it's just things like that. So it makes it turn into a big adventure for him. Or we could play that over a series of nights where you make the journey from the city to the destination is one part of the game. Then you can follow the next part of the game is then to actually find the treasure, and another game is to get back again. You know, it's just little things like that. It's just trying to keep it a bit, just trying to get him into it a bit more by kind of expanding the things we can do. Let's fill these gaps in a bit. Biggest problem I have is landmass colours, is what colour to make. Well, I'll come to that later because I do battle with that a lot. But anyway, we'll come to that later. So, do we want? So we've got more hills. Let's patch these hills up a bit more. Right, so let's have another water. We've got more water to come. So let's get another lake, kind of. At the bottom of these mountains, from these mountains here, So what we're going to do, I'm going to divert water into these from this lake. And let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. That was not what I wanted to do. Let's go in a bit closer, see what we're doing. So what we're going to do, we're going to go from here into here. So I want to get that, make that kind of get into there. Make it a bit more like that. And I'm going to do the same just here, just so it looks a bit more natural. Okay, right, so I think we have got more than enough water. We've got more than enough water, I think. Okay. Right. The next is colour the biomes, is what it. Because I'm working through the sequence in the workflow. There's a suggested workflow in the quick guide which suggests do your map, create your map obviously because you've got to go about it first. Draw your land masses, add your mountains, add your rivers, colour your biomes, add your trees, add your settlements, add your labels. Colour the biomes is something I always struggle with. On a massive scale I struggle with this, just to what colour to make things. I will show you by the battle I have regions. So if you want not regions, overlay. So we've got frame tool, trace tool, line tool, what you are, measuring tool, scale creator. So again, I'm not bothered about scale. It's just something I don't think I'm particularly worried about, to be quite honest with you. Landmass polygonal. I just want to keep it relatively simple. So what I'm thinking is I might not colour the land masses quite yet because I always find that incredibly difficult. I spent ages calling the mountains. So let's have a go at it. So mountains wise, I don't want it to be too dark, but I don't want it to be really kind of greyness. Because what if you look at the? Because what I'm going to do, come off that a second. In these mountains, I'm going to drop a couple of little features, like for example, a couple of landmarks, symbols. We go to symbols, and we go to there. If I scroll down to keep going a little bit to we get there eventually to mines, for example. If I want to drop a couple of little mines, and there's kind of little just symbols to go. For example, there's mines here. Just drop them in to suggest that within these hills there are mines. It's more just as again as a visual point of reference. If I can have to sit properly, just as a visual point of reference. So I'm tempted to drop those in first. So if you do call it, say, I'm not going to drop light. It's a kind of, it's just a visual point of reference. Let me make sure I go trees. No, just that one. Go to you, because you're way too big. So just like again, just to kind of drop them into places. It's just a visual point of reference that I can go. The adventure we're going to go to this mine over here, and again, it's just so I can. Again, it's just about creating something that I can latch onto to create a story, essentially. So obviously, this region is maps on mines all over this region. So it's just again, it's not these. This is again, it's just creating a point of reference so that if I'm telling a story to my little lad, I can go right. We're going to go from here. We're going to go to the north, and the far north of this going to the mines in the north, and then I can go we're now here, and then we can have a little adventure getting there. And obviously, if we're going to the mines in the north, and we're going to go all the way around, rather than if you start here, then it's going to take us longer. There's going to be more happen to get there. Just little things like that. So I'm not after kind of making specific pairs. This is going to be mine here. It's just kind of to give the idea that there are mines in these areas. There are places in these areas to look at. You want to go and visit. Just again, there's a point of reference for story creating purposes. Because I'm not the most creative of people, so I always need as much help as you can get to do this. And let's come off. Let's go to the point and drag it across. Colouring biomes is what I always find the hardest. Land. Alright, to colour biomes, go into the brush. And we're going to go to here. Right. Colour of the land is what I really struggle with, is what colour to create it. So I'm always struggling to like kind of, do we select greys or do we select browns? And it's just like, what kind of colour do you use? You know, this is what I really struggle with. You know, so I'm just as we speak, I'm just looking at a few images of what other people have done. Some creative assistance as to what how other people have done it. It's you get a wide variety of different colours. It's difficult. It's a difficult one. This is. I don't really know. Right. What am I thinking? Let's go to greens. Let's go to kind of. Let's go to. Let's see if I can be clever. Let's go to dark green. So it looks. We won't do dark. Just give that a shot. See how that looks. So that's way too green. Way too. Hey, look at those! Way big shiny green mountains. Way too bright. Because it looks alright there, but it's kind of when you get into. Again, that's far too green again. So we'll move that. Let's try that one. That's way too dark. This is why this is one part on the last version I tried to call. This is why I got stuck because I just couldn't find a colour I liked. This didn't look like completely imposing or too. Look at that! Woohoo! We're big shiny green mountains. You know, it was too. I just couldn't work out what I wanted to do. What I'm tempted to do is take one of these here and put one of these in. Yeah, that kind of works. That kind of. But then the problem with that is you lose the landmarks disappear in the landmarks kind of disappear a little bit. Mind you, if you print the map out big enough, it doesn't really matter, does it? Really? If the map, if you make the map, if you make the map big enough, then it won't really matter. It won't really matter what colour you make, as long as if you make the map big enough, then it won't necessarily matter that you can't see on the computer screen. Because I'm sort of making a map like A5 size, or maybe a bit bigger, something I can roll up and put on a kitchen table or a dining room table. Because we have quite a sizably large dining room table at home. Let's colour you just that. That's like that. Yeah, that colour. Yeah, that's a bit better. It's kind of mountainous colour, isn't it? Yeah. I always struggle with colours. My day job is I'm a SQL developer, and I do a lot of visualization as well as that, business intelligence. And when I'm doing visualizations, I always have a battle over what colours to use, but I always use bold colours, straight, but either soft, mellow colours to kind of like, or bold colours like your red, greens, blues, something that's really kind of like, look at those, or really soft pastel colours that kind of, but again, I keep it kind of really simple. So when I'm presenting, and I always think it's also part of the job. I find the hardest is just getting the colour in right. It makes a difference. If you look at a map and the colours are like horrendous, you go like, oh my god, I don't look at that. It's not very pleasing on the eye, is it? It's like biomes. Okay, what I'm thinking is we want the forested area. I'm thinking we make the forested area kind of. You need a wood elf type foresty area. I think we should have two. I think we should have in the bottom corner. In the bottom corner, I think it's difficult because I want the northern corner to be like wastelands up here, kind of, well, not kind of like this, a bit more kind of barren. To there, like that. Big, push it big enough. To there, because that's all kind of just not wasteland, but it's not nearly as fertile as it is down here. So if I were to go and then like that there, that's the same colour as the hills. We don't want the same colour as the hills, do we? So then to kind of into green here. So like rich kind of farmland type area here. And let's get a bit closer so we don't. Yeah, colour them like that, then let's make it nice and big and get it come quicker. Not too big, I can't see what I'm doing now. Let's make it a bit smaller. There's a green. And again, we'll go with the brown in the corner so it's kind of creeping up there a little bit. And let's make the bottom of the mountains, let's kind of colour those green as well. So it's kind of a bit kind of around the foot of the mountains, it's a bit desolate, not much life in the bottom of the mountains there. Let's do the same on there as well. So it's kind of like the north where it's all wastelands and there's cold and the temperature's a bit different there. So it makes it doubly hard to adventure. Let's make it a bit smaller, so I'm not changing colour in mountains. Obviously you could spend ages on this, but it's more just kind of there. And then what you want to creep into that is kind of creeping in the grass area there. So you've got that kind of encroachment on your green, nice, lovely areas with your grass farmland type areas where you're going to get a lot more life and a lot more people. So I got distracted. I'm a distracted moving evenings tonight. I've finished work, but I've still got my work laptop switched on. So I keep looking at it, tempted to do more work, which is a habit that needs to stop. I don't want it to see much there. It doesn't matter if the whole, doesn't have the whole screen doesn't have to be. There's a whole thing that have to be, but it just kind of just makes it. Let's get that kind of that way. Let's make that a bit more good. That's like that. I wrote 2 green, didn't we? Every time I meant to save them, like, what's the noise? This is saving, so let's just get that done, and then I'm gonna think of that. So, let's see, some nice and green. So it's okay, let's get down this all nice and green down here as well. Let's just go green. Now I'm thinking we do want. It just really occurred to me what we could do. So that's like coloured in basically there. What I'm thinking here is we want a desert. We do want a desert, so I want to go to yellow. Let's find a nice desert colour. Or, tell you what we could do. I'm just going to go back here and touch that up a little bit. What I'm going to do here, so I'm going to go to the rubber, I'm going to go all of that out and just leave it in the base sand colour. And just going to make this kind of a bit of a eastern desert, a little bit kind of desert area to make this kind of, and then kind of that. Oh, do I want to do that? Saying that, it's kind of, are we really bothered about desert? Having kind of a desert land in, kind of, I'm tempted with something like that, but then pocket it with areas of greenery, kind of around the water's edges, so it's kind of, obviously you've got lots, because obviously when you do it around the water you get lots of fertility, aren't you? So you're going to get all the way around here, you're going to get lots and lots and lots and lots of green land, because you're going to get irrigation, you're going to get inhabitants living around there. Let's get you, let's kind of rub you out there. Get rid of the green there as well. Let's kind of click you on that. Let's kind of get it pushed down a little bit more there. Yeah, so just kind of see. Let's have a look where we are with everything. Let's jump like that. What I'm thinking, let's have a look where we are. So let me go to 66%. So what I'm thinking is I need to touch this up a bit more down here. Make sure it's all coloured in. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's kind of... Right. See, I'm not sure I like that. I like the idea of in a desert, but I might just colour this in and just like do what I was going to do. Just have the top and the bottom to be the desert areas. Be the wastelands that require more, that will be more adventures in, could be conventions in the southern and northern wastelands. Yeah, I will have that, I think. Like I said, I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but... And I always have I've got an image in my head, but I don't have the artistic skills to get that image in my head onto here. If you know what I mean. Oh, where are we? Okay, so there's that. So we've got kind of... Let's make that there. Let's get that. Make sure it joins in correctly. Looks kind of like it should do. Like that. Okay, so don't have to be perfect. So we've got coloured our biomes in there. No, coloured the biomes. So what next? I am tempted to. Alright, I want to put trees in. I want to put trees. Let's go to trees now. Like I said, it's... If you look at some of the images people have created on... Just if you put in Wonderdraft maps into Firefox, Google or your browser of choice and look into images, there are some fantastic images. There are really good images. Like I said, I'm not going for like laser accuracy in terms of scale. It's just for me it's more the visual image of you've got a big forest here. Like if you also want the image, you've got a big forest here. A big forest there. I just want to create. I just literally want to create the image that's a forest for just not necessarily to scale. So obviously I'll see if there's a scale tools on here, so I can kind of give an idea of kind of like I've got a frame of reference of how long it's going to take to get from one place to the other. Let's have a look at our scales into the map in general. Okay, let's put some more different trees in there as well. Let's go back in to make sure it's to the same scale. So if I put your test in that one, this one doesn't want to drag. I must have clicked that, which is a bit of a pain, but not to worry. What else have we got? Is that what we've just said? Oh, we've got different ones as well. Just kind of fill it up with different trees. It's like to make it again be just a very thick forest. Very thick forest. Got anything living in there. You've got no idea what's in there. You can't see anything. Okay. We are like that. That looks okay. A couple more of them there. What are you? We had some of you yet. Let's not go too crazy. Let's not go too crazy. Let's have some more. Let's kind of. Will this drag like that? Will this drag? I wonder. So again, a different kind of long, different forest. Again, you could have different elves in this forest because of different trees, different elves. Again, to scale, we're not talking laser accuracy scale, as you can tell. It's more just the kind. It's more the reference point for a storyline or an adventure. There's some more trees there. Some more of them. basically if you hold the mouse down and drag it, it fills in all the gaps. If there are any gaps in there, it'll fill them in. You've got the great central forests of the different kinds. Two very different forests on either side of the river. There could be a story behind that as well, behind why they're different from them. But actually, saying that, just the trees I want. Let's go to this one. I'm not sure I like them, to be quite honest with you. It looks odd that there are different types of trees. To be honest, it just looks a bit odd. So you're there. So let's just kind of get them like that. It just, I don't know, it just looked a bit strange. And then you've got, was it you? It was you, wasn't it? Yes, oh, yeah, a bit better, that's a bit better. It's a bit thinner. A bit thin, it's not as thick here, so it's kind of not as thick. Oops, nope. Don't want to put a tree in the middle of the water. Okay, that's that. So let's have a look where we are with everything. So when I go into 75%, so we've now got two thick wooded areas. What I'm tempted to do is put then put a smaller, thinner forest, kind of. Got that right size, haven't we? Yeah, a bit kind of. Smaller forests anyway, just kind of giving the impression that this land was once thick with trees, and there's pockets of trees and forests here and there. Then you can see once this was land that was filled with elves, filled with trees, and slowly mankind has come in and chopped them all down, or lots of different quests around that. Suppose got some more trees down here. Not all turns to a lot more than they know. Just kind of lots of different forests to go adventuring in, where you can go all sorts of monsters and stuff. Okay, I like that. I'm happy with that. More than a minute. I'm not happy with that. Alright, okay, so what we then want to do is, I want to go back to my list of do it in this order. Where's it gone? Where have you gone? Right, hang on, sorry. Quick guide. Right, so it then suggests what to call it add settlements. How long have we been waiting for? Settlements. Right, tell you what I'm going to do first. We're going to go to overlays. I want measuring tool. I want a kind of a scale. So I'll do a scale. So how do you do a scale then? That's interesting. Let's create a scale, so it's going to be. Do we want it to be that big? So that's going to be like 500 miles. No, that's not big enough. So let's just change that to be distance miles in. Let's make it in 10. Okay, let's do it in 10. So right, let's create that. So that's in 10, 20, 50 miles. That's again. Let's not. I don't want that. Let's try in 50 miles. So it would then suggest that would be. That's way too big. No, can't be that. It's going to have to be that. And it's going to have to be. 50 miles, font size, width, we want segments, okay, it's not that then, so we want to go. Okay, if I did that in 25, I'm probably making this a lot more complicated than I need to. And I want to go with 25 miles. So in theory, that's what we're saying then, if I get my pointer. we're saying it's 100 minutes going to take you, for example, from get there for there, it's going to take you 4. If I, for example, say in a game it's going to take you, you can walk 25 miles in a day. How can you walk in a day? Day in miles, km. Miles. How can you? So we're looking between 20 to 30 miles a day. So if you're saying, if we were going to do that, then we're saying to get from there, from that into the forest, it's going to take you 4 days. That's just not realistic, I think. Let's try 10. So basically we're saying it's going to take you, so if I was playing that live venture, it would take us, say, 2, probably, if I go to there, so we're going to go 2, 4, maybe 5 days into the forest, and the forest is kind of take you 4 days to get to the forest. So from like end to end talking, let's go with 20, let's do it in 25s. Let's delete that and let's do it in 25s. I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be. Therefore it needs to be wider, doesn't it? It needs to be. That's basically 1 day. Let's do it in 5s then. This is why it took me. This is why it takes me so long, because I spend so long with stuff like this. But I don't know what to do. So talking, that is 1 day. So talking from 1 day, 2 days. So you're talking maybe 3 days walk. Again, I'm making this way more complicated than it needs to be. So from end to end, you're going. If I have to make that, it's just for visual reference. I am making this a lot more complicated than I need to do. I really am. I am making this way more complicated than I need to. But this is what I've struggled with it so far. Is I keep doing this and keep going. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. And I end up spending ages on things that I really don't need to be spending time on. I'm looking back on my maps to get an idea of I tell you what, why do we need to have miles? I tell you what we can do. I tell you what, the 1 miles will go leagues. Let's keep it all fancy type language. Then I can just basically make it up as I go along then. If I make that into 10. Yeah, leagues there. Then I can basically, then it's just like, then I can make it up as I go along then, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I made that a lot more complicated than it needed to be. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah, this is the last part of my day job. I spend ages messing about stuff like this. Come with a box, labels. If I put a label in, if I drag a label, I go like drag you in there. Can I make you a bit bigger? Let's make you a bit bigger. So I want to make that a label like that. I want to make the label like that. Okay, let's make the label a bit smaller. Okay, so nearly. So I want to make the label kind of like sit the label on there like so. Go back into here, back into me KM, back into you. Then we're going to make you now. Let's change that font because that font's awful. That's not great either. That's not great. What do we have that on to start with? Can anybody remember? Ew. I should have left one alone, shouldn't I, really? That's what try them all, eh? I don't like that. Lancelot, nope. I can't read that anyway. That's... Oh, blimey. Nope. Nope. Should I make the font if I get the font? That makes it even harder to read. Leave it as white for the time being. Outline colour. Oh, I tell you, if you don't like colour, and the outline colour is... That's awful, that's horrible. Okay, let's leave it at that. Outline width. I'm still not happy with the Marco one. That's better. Leave it at that. That was a lot harder than it needed to be. That was. Right, so we've now got kind of... I still keep seeing it. Okay, I still keep seeing things to tidy up. So I'm going to go into my paintbrush. I'm going to get you. I'm going to paint you a bit more. Fill the gaps in there. I'm going to get you. I'm going to fill the gaps in a bit more there. Like so. Get all nice and coloured in. There. You make sure you're filled in there. Nope, wrong one. It's over it. Okay, make that there like so. Get you and make sure you are the right colour. There, kind of into there like so. Right. Okay, I'm gonna push that green a bit more that way because if you do, you've got no ways to say you're gonna get a bit of green, aren't you? So, like so, and in there as well. Right, so we're big to get this painted. So we've now got. So we've now done. I've lost the. I've lost that a second. Where's that gone? Right, there we are. Okay. I keep jumping back because this is a windowed thing, so I've minimised my toolbars, so I've got to my second screen. I keep on fishing back from my toolbars. Alright, so now we've done, and I've lost my thing again. Where are you? Settlements. So let's think about settlements now. Obviously, you can spend a lot more time on this than I have. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place down. No, that's a map. So settlements I like, I prefer. I think these are great. You've got so many to go from. So if we go, oh, so you got like this. You got so many things to go at. Colour towns. You can only select one of them. Let's select all of them. The ones I do like are for towns. They've got all the down here is kind of towns. So I'm thinking. Well, let me recommend small though. So you can make them so you can do the size up there. So I'm thinking we want kind of up there. We want the mouth of the river there because that's kind of be quite major there. What I'm thinking is that space working there. Kind of a major kind of settlement that surrounds this. If I can surrounds here. I need to go right. Tell you what I'm going to do. I need to make them all the same size. Make them all the same size. Okay, where are we? Make them all 30. A settlement there. And we're going to have a settlement here because this is a major. So these are a different settlement type. If I can fit it in, he says. Must do that one. I've got a couple. Let's stick you in there. And a couple out there as well, because this is like a major river. We're going to have a settlement kind of. That's kind of three. That's kind of two major cities there. We're going to have a settlement up here, I think. We're going to have a kind of a settlement up, or that's on these. That's borders on the. That's borders on land up here. these are major settlements. These are major settlements, and we're probably going to have one that's stuck on the edge of here somewhere. These are major settlements. So what we're going to do with individual like villages, what I'm then going to do, I'm going to scroll back up here to get to here. And individual villages, what we're then going to do is this kind of, when you've got, let's go a bit bigger so we can see. So when you've got individual buildings, we're going to get, also what I'm going to do, if I forget, I'm going to stick a churches kind of stuff up in the bigger settlements. The different types of churches. We need one in there, and we need one in there. So for the smaller type settlements, I'm using the individual buildings just to mark the fact these are smaller settlements. There's a couple of buildings here, and there's a couple of buildings to indicate they're smaller settlements. So you can have a couple of like there. So obviously, when there's like multiple buildings, the more buildings, the bigger settlement. So you're always going to have a couple of villages dotted around here and there. And we'll have another. Yeah, I made that one too small, didn't I? They're fine. Okay, so let's try that again, shall we? Let's go filter it so we can see and we want. What was it? Colour town. That's what we wanted. Here we go. Hamlet block. It's literally a hamlet block, so it's going to literally drop a hamlet block in. It's going to indicate that it's a different hamlet block from that one. There's lots of little villages dotted around to indicate that you're in a. Try and use different ones to kind of keep it a bit different. We don't want to go overkill. We don't want to go overkill though, because that would be OTT, a bit over the top. So lots of villages here. We're going to have a couple of villages on the around here, and we can have a. Okay, so what have we got? So we've got a couple of villages kind of up here. And we're going to have a couple more down here. A couple of villages down here somewhere. So how many cities, major cities have we got then? How many major cities we've got? Make it a bit smaller. Alright, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we need more than that. Nope. Inked castles. Nope. It's colour town. That's what I wanted. Not colour town. That's not what it was. Not what I wanted. They are colour town, and let's go all of them. I can't find them now. So I mean, the sheer quantity of things to go at. So you are a, oh yeah, your village house coloured colour. So we maybe want another kind of, maybe beef these up a little bit because they're going to be on, they're going to be made kind of big cities. Well, maybe want to make you a bit bigger. There's a kind of. Maybe you a bit bigger, and kind of maybe one right on the edge up here there, because you've got kind of major settlements. So now what we want in the major settlements, we want so what I'm thinking is this is because this is notoriously bad for monsters coming out of these hills. Kind of watchtowers, a line of watchtowers that line the route of like almost a kind of that's a kind of a warning. Look out points to guard the areas, regions where there's problems. And obviously the woods, you can't guard the woods because you can't see them. Then we're going to have a couple of forts. There's going to, we're going to have a kind of a castle kind of attached to the town here. We're in a major capital, we're in a major city castle there. Probably could be a better place, but let's try that again, shall we? Can have a major castle stack onto this one. We'll have another one onto here. Clearly, these aren't to scale. Clearly, they're not to scale. It's to give you, again, it's just for gameplay purposes, really. A kind of. Okay. That needs to be bigger, and so does that. Let's go back to there. Coloured village. What I don't want to do is make it too busy, which I'm in danger of doing. Dotted on the coast, and let's have a different type of building, so we make sure we look a bit different. And what we want there is a, what do we want? Kind of castle not used yet. Okay, so far, so we've got settlement with castle. Let's stick one down here. Got major settlement with castle. Let's get another. Let's get one of them there. I'm tempted to put a massive fortress just there to be the kind of nestled just there as a bulwark in the against the barbarians coming from wherever they're coming from. Again, that's kind of a story-wise, great castles that are stuck out in no man's land, where the barbarians are, where kind of to keep an eye on the savages coming from the north and the hills and what have you. Right, we've been going a ridiculous amount of time, so let me go into here. Right. I'm going because obviously I don't like to do things more than an hour because it's a lot to do in it. So let me just pull it up. So far, let me get my points on my dragon then. So we've created our map. We've coloured biomes. We've created forests. We've added settlements. I think it looks a bit busy, but not to be worried. I might add another island in there. We've got to kind of put them into regions. Regions add in like mini countries in the map if we want to. We can still add in fields. We've still got the option to add in fields, which is we've still got to add in farmland and fields and what have you. So what we can do is maybe kind of here to signify this is farmland. Couple of different types of things. So like the villages, they're going to have fields. Doesn't have to be anything brilliant, but to give an idea that again these are villages that produce their farmers. Again, it just adds to this. It adds to the storyline, ability to tell stories. Again, a couple of the windmills down here. Let's put a couple more crops up there, make that a bit bigger. And it's just to kind of make that a bit smaller. So you know these are just farm villages, and you can farmers and fishermen or what have you. Oh, everybody, we've got some up here. Different colour fields can we use? Again, it doesn't have to be massive to scale. It's more for storytelling purposes. This is why I'm doing it, just so it presents we've got a map. There's a lot going on here though. I might remove a couple. There is a lot going on, but again, it's to tell different stories. lots of different adventures to be had. There's not a lot going in the middle there. There's lots of nothing happening there, so I need to think of what we can do there. Anyway, just playing about, creating a fantasy map. Like I said, I'm not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it's create a little fantasy world. I think I've still got more to do on this, and let me know what you think. Let me know if you do something similar, what you would do, how you do it, and again, share if you've done it yourself. Share what you've done. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. It's something a bit different, but I always like to find things a bit different. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Alright, bye.